Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. It's Brandon with Campbell Fitness, and today's video is going to be on creatine and whether or not it causes bloating. So if you haven't seen my videos in the past on creatine, I highly suggest you check those out first. I did one which is a creatine basic overview, as well as one on creatine and if you can take it while dieting. Now I wanted to talk about the bloating aspect of it because regardless of those videos that I put out, I still get a lot of questions and comments from you guys all the time saying you're staying away from creatine monohydrate because you've noticed that you're carrying too much water, you get bloated. So you're either looking for alternatives or you don't like to take creatine at all. Now, if you've read any of the actual studies about creatine monohydrate, what it does and how it works, you will know that it does in fact make you hold in water. However, what you guys really need to take into consideration here is the water that it makes you hold in is intracellular, meaning within the cell, in this case, the muscles. So it pulls water within your muscles, thus giving you the appearance of looking fuller. It will add some water weight, obviously, but this is a good water weight. The water weight you want to avoid is what is known as subcutaneous water retention, which is below the skin, which is in the case of your stomach and other parts of your body, which is the bloat that we get and hear all the time. Creatine does not do this by nature. Now, when I talk about creatine monohydrate, it's important to note the dosage of it. For most people, that's somewhere between 3 to 6 grams per day, every day, or most days, so to say. You don't have to cycle creatine, so let's get at that out of the way as well. Now, one of the things with creatine monohydrate that you'll notice is a lot of times companies suggest that you do what's known as a loading phase. In this case, you're taking up to 20 grams of creatine monohydrate per day for the span of about a week to fully saturate yourself with it. Now, while this will in fact get you saturated faster, it doesn't have any real benefit in the long term. The thing about creatine and supplementation with it is you'll see the most gains with prolonged use. So even though loading might get your body saturated with it faster, in the long run, those few days that it might get you loaded faster as opposed to a normal 3 to 6 gram dosage, you're not going to see any significant strength gains over that time. So there really is no point in doing those loading phases. All it does is eat up excess creatine. Now, the interesting thing about the loading phases, yes, it does in fact saturate you faster, as we just mentioned. However, the body cannot absorb that much creatine at one time. Again, the general thinking behind doing the loading is give your body as much as possible. Hopefully, as much as possible will then get absorbed. The problem with this is that your body simply can't absorb that high amount of creatine. What then happens is it has to pass through your kidneys, it needs to be digested and excreted, normally through peeing. And the problem is that while it's in your stomach and while it's going through your system, this can in fact, in some cases, cause water to draw in to help you digest this excess creatine. So in that case, you might have seen a bloat. So when speaking with most people, they generally see this bloat or this water retention in the beginning stages of taking creatine. And upon further talking with them, in most cases, it's because they're doing a loading phase or taking way too much creatine. Some people think that they need to take it before workouts and after workouts, maybe at 5 grams a piece, maybe at 10 grams a piece because they weigh more, so they figure they need more. It's still not the case, guys. You should only be taking 3 to 6 grams maximum, and it doesn't matter at what time of the day that you take it, just that you take it on a consistent basis. Which brings me to another point of people who take creatine in other forms besides creatine monohydrate. The biggest one out there that I can think of is Crealkaline. A lot of you guys take this, you think it's great because you know what? There's no loading phase, and also you don't have any of the bloating associated with it. Well, if you look more in depth at Crealkaline, what it is per pill, it's 1.5 grams of creatine. Now, the suggested serving size for this product is take 2 pills a day every day, which when you look at the totals, it's only 3 grams of creatine per day. Now, opposed to someone who also took Crealkaline that's coming from a creatine monohydrate, the chances are very high they are doing the loading phase or they are taking more than the 3 to 6 grams of recommended dosage. So you can kind of see why in some cases they might have felt like they were holding water because they were taking so much more. On this new product, when you look at how much they're actually taking, it's so much less. It's just simple math. Again, based off of studies and research, creatine monohydrate has still been shown to be the most effective form of creatine out there. You'll also find that it's one of the least expensive. So when you come out with these other forms of creatine that offer all these benefits, which are for the most part mostly made up in just marketing schemes, you're paying for something that's less effective. So you really should do some of the research on these products before you jump in and use some common sense in knowing that if you take a lot of anything, it could potentially be bad for you. But given the right dosages, again, you shouldn't see any bloat from creatine monohydrate. The other reason why people feel this, I think it's a big mental aspect. They hear a lot that creatine bloats you. So they take it and they feel like they're gaining weight, which again, knowing what creatine does, pulling water into the muscles, some weight gain is to be expected. However, as we've previously mentioned, it should be within the muscles, intracellular. They also find that, maybe they're eating more or something like that. Regardless of what it is, they think that they're putting on weight, they think that they're looking flat. And again, most of this is strictly mental. And if you think that enough and you convince yourself that you are doing it, you're going to very well believe it. So with this, again, the general summary of this video is don't worry about bloating with creatine monohydrate. It won't cause it as long as you're taking the recommended dose of 3 to 6 grams per day. Don't worry about loading, don't worry about timing, just make sure you take it consistently and you will see the gains that you want. And you'll also save some money without going to other forms of creatine. So I hope that answers your guys' questions on creatine. I'm sure I'm going to get comments and more questions on top of it. I'm up for the challenge, so bring it on. But as always, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay big.